Good morning. Today we are going to be doing reflections, and we're going to see how 2 points are related to each other and how you can make a reflection over one axis or more. We're going to be once again using our coordinate grid or coordinate plane. The essential question is, how are 2 points that are considered a reflection related? And these notes are going to go on page 53 and 54. And if you could, where it says journal on page 53, let's put in today's date. Don't forget that we are going to be adding, every time we do anything with this note, we're going to add what we're going to do with it. So today we're going to take notes. All right, so then when we go back and you do your practice problems, or when you go back and you do your questions or summaries, you're going to add that in. So add your table, your topic, and essential question. Okay, so hopefully you got your topic and essential question written in. Now you're going to circle the standard 6 NS6, and you should be able to recognize when 2 ordered pairs or coordinates differ only by the signs. The locations are related by a reflection on one or both sides. So I can recognize when 2 ordered pairs or coordinates differ only by signs, the locations are related by a reflection on one or both axes. Now remember, we have the y-axis, which is our vertical line on our coordinate grid, and we have our x-axis, which is our horizontal. We also have our origin, which is here in the middle. We have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plot the ordered pairs and connect them in order. So we have these numbers here, and we are going to plot them. Okay, so plot the ordered pairs. So remember, we go over to the x and then up or down on the y. So the first one is 1, 1. So we're going to go over to 1 and up to 1, and we're going to make a dot. Now we're going to go to 1, 4. Over to 1, up to 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Over to 3, up to 4. And 1, 1 again. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to skip 1. 3, 1. So right there. So, and then back to 1, 1. So that tells us that we're going to draw a line. And I'm going to use a different color pen. You don't have to. I just think it might be easier for you to see if I do. Use a different color pen here because the lines. So here's a line, here's a line, here's a line, and a line. So I've made a rectangle. That rectangle happens to be 2 by 3 or 6 cubes or squares. Okay.
Chamisa Mann, if you're on campus, please come to the office. Chamisa Mann, if you're on campus, please come to the office.
Excuse me for that. I apologize. Okay, so now what we're going to do next is we are going to write a few notes. The first note I want us to write down is A, to reflect. Now, think about what the word reflect means. A reflection is like when you look in the mirror and you look at yourself. Now, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you are the same image, but you're kind of off. So what's the right side actually becomes the left side. It's opposite. So that's the same thing when we're reflecting. To reflect means you're just jumping over either the y-axis, or you're jumping over the x-axis, or you're jumping over both. So to reflect over the x-axis, use the same x-coordinate but the opposite y. Y-coordinate. Remember, your first coordinate is your x, your second is your y. Okay, and then the second note, we're going to put it over here for B, is to reflect or jump over the y-axis, use the opposite x coordinate, but the same y. Okay, and then if you're going to cross both of them, you are going to use the opposite of both. So to cross both axes, you are going to change both coordinates to the opposites. So now let's reflect our shape over the x-axis in purple. Write the ordered pairs. So these are, we're going to be going over the x-axis, and we're going to reflect over the x-axis, and we're going to do this in purple. Now, on our first one, we're going to write these coordinates down first. Now, remember, to cross over the x, to reflect over the x, use the same x, but the opposite y. So our first x that we had here was a positive 1, negative, or a positive 1, positive 1. So we're going to use the same x, so we're going to have 1, but we're going to use the opposite y, which would be, instead of positive 1, it would be negative 1. So that would be positive 1, negative 1. Because we're going to go from here down to here. Okay, so now let's do the next one. The next point we had was positive 1, 4. So we're going to have positive 1, stays the same, and the opposite of 4 is negative 4. All right? That's going to go positive 1, negative 4. Oops, you know what I realized? I put this guy in the wrong spot. He should go right here, because this one goes right there. All right, let's look at the next one. We had positive 3, positive 4. So positive 3, positive 4. So we keep the 3 the same, and we're going to change the 4 to the opposite. So just change the sign, and it's going to go right here. And then our final 3, 1. So over to 3, up to 1, keep the 3, change the 1 to the opposite, and it's going to go right here. And then we bring it back to 1, negative 1. So now let's connect those. And you'll see that if we have a mirror image, it's just dropped down below. That is a reflection. So these are called reflections because one of the coordinates of each pair differs from the origin by a sign. Meaning, this spot is the same on the x, but it's the opposite on the y. This is the same on the x, but the opposite on the y. It's both 3, but it is up only 1 up here and then down negative 1 here. And that's how you do a reflection. Now, you're going to come over here onto page 53, and you're going to do this on your own. The first thing it says is plot a triangle in quadrant 2. Now remember, where's quadrant 2? If you did your C, quadrant 1, quadrant 2. So you're going to make a triangle. How many points does a triangle have? A triangle has 3 points. So you're going to make a triangle anywhere in here, anywhere you want. I don't really care how you do it. Any 3 points, but it needs to be in quadrant 2, and you need to connect 3 points. And then you would list them. So if I were to list these, go over to the x, I would have negative 1, negative 2. So I have negative 2. And then I would go up 1, 2, 2. Then I would have this one, which would be negative 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4, up 2. And once again, these don't have to be the same as mine. You could do whatever you want. And then my final one would be negative 3, 4. That's mine. Then it says reflect over the y. Now remember, when you're reflecting over the y, to reflect over the y, use the opposite x but the same y. So you would say, okay, I'm going to keep the y the same, but I'm going to change this. So the opposite of -2 would be +2, keeping this second one the same. So instead of crossing this way, you're going to cross this way. You're going to go that way. All right, so I want you to finish the rest on your own. I want you to list the ordered pairs here. You should have 3 of them, and I want you to draw it down here on the coordinate grid. If you have any questions, feel free to review the video again, email me, or come in and see me. Have a fantastic day.